I got smoke or Cam Hops. I got
New at 6 in battle, Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard is mounting a re-election.
Tiffany Henyard, the self-proclaimed super mayor of Thornton Township, is at the center of a real-life political drama that spans both Thornton Township and Dolton. What began with acts of public donations has now exploded into a media spectacle, with serious allegations of financial mismanagement and even threats of eviction. Henyard's tenure as mayor and supervisor has been far from uneventful, but the real question is, has she transformed from a bold leader into a political opportunist? Let's delve into the chaos and uncover the truth behind the headlines.
It's handing out free turkeys ahead of Thanksgiving. But in Thornton Township,
The annual turkey giveaway in Thornton Township has long been a cherished tradition aimed at helping those in need during the holiday season. This year's event, however, became embroiled in controversy, with accusations of political opportunism overshadowing the spirit of giving. Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who has proudly branded herself as a super mayor and the mayor of the people, distributed smoked turkeys to attendees. However, the occasion was quickly overshadowed by accusations that Henyard was using the event as a way to boost her public image, turning a community outreach effort into a media spectacle. While community events like these are often used by politicians to enhance their visibility, not everyone was impressed with Henyard's approach. Local leaders, including Trustee Christopher Gonzalez and Trustee Carmen Perro, voiced their dissatisfaction with the spectacle, accusing Henyard of turning the turkey giveaway into a political stunt. According to Gonzalez, Henyard's focus appeared more on advancing her personal agenda than on addressing the real issues facing Dolton and Thornton Township. He argued that these events, including the recent electric vehicle EV distribution, were being used to divert attention from the more pressing financial and infrastructural concerns within the community. This growing frustration points to deeper tensions within the leadership of Dolton and Thornton Township. Henyard's administration has faced increasing scrutiny from trustees, who have raised alarms about her extravagant spending initiatives. They accuse her of pushing forward costly expenditures that could worsen the township's already fragile financial state, leaving little room for critical investments in the community's infrastructure and essential services. The situation took a dramatic turn when Henyard attempted to fill a trustee vacancy left by the resignation of Trustee Jerry Jones in October. Her move to appoint a new trustee was met with immediate resistance, as Gonzalez and Perro refused to attend board meetings, thereby denying Henyard the quorum needed to make progress on key decisions. Henyard's attempt to bypass community input in the trustee appointment process were heavily criticized. Gonzalez, in particular, called for a more open and transparent process, arguing that community members should have a say in such important decisions. This refusal to support Henyard's candidate underscored the growing rift between the mayor and the township's trustees. Trustees argue that leadership decisions should be more inclusive and reflect the community's interests, not just those of the supervisor's office. The ongoing deadlock over the trustee appointment exemplified the broader conflict over how the township should be governed, whether it should be led by unilateral decisions from the mayor or through a more balanced, community-driven approach. The turkey giveaway, though intended as a charitable event, has inadvertently become a symbol of the larger struggle for control within Thornton Township. The conflict between Henyard and the trustees highlights the challenges of balancing political maneuvering with the real needs of the community. With tensions continuing to rise, the situation in Dolton reveals the difficulties that arise when leadership is entrenched in personal and political interests, leaving the well-being of the people caught in the middle.
Who they are just yet, instead promising to name them later this month. Henyard is under investigation.
In the wake of a postponed board meeting, Mayor Tiffany Henyard is not holding back in her response to the growing tensions within Dolton Township leadership. Henyard has accused trustees Christopher Gonzalez and Carmen Carlisle of orchestrating a political boycott aimed at impeding progress and undermining her administration. In an emotional response, Henyard went so far as to label her critics Judas, alleging they were part of a deliberate campaign to tarnish her reputation and obstruct her community initiatives. According to Henyard, the issue at hand is not about governance, but about a concerted effort to damage her character. However, Henyard's statements go far beyond mere political accusations. She has also addressed the financial mismanagement claims that have recently plagued Dolton's leadership. Her stewardship of the town's finances has come under intense scrutiny, with many accusing her extravagant spending, dubious priorities, and fiscal irresponsibility. As the town's financial crisis deepens, Henyard has hinted at potential legal action, vowing to expose those she believes are defaming her as the financial situation continues to spiral amid these growing concerns. Both local residents and outside watchdogs have raised alarms, prompting the involvement of former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot to perform an independent assessment of Dolton's finances. The preliminary findings of Lightfoot's review were staggering. Dolton's once healthy general fund, which had boasted a surplus of over $5 million, had plunged into a shocking deficit of more than $3 million between 2022 and mid-2024. This drastic financial decline has drawn considerable attention, with many questioning Henyard's fiscal stewardship and her extravagant spending habits. Financial documents that have been exposed reveal a series of troubling expenditures, many of which have been described as wasteful and unnecessary. The most egregious examples include excessive purchases made using the township's credit cards, ranging from luxury goods to everyday items. Notably, Henyard's credit card was used for purchases at stores like Target and Wayfair, and she even indulged in a single-day shopping spree on Amazon that cost taxpayers over $4,000. These lavish expenditures have raised alarm bells, with residents and trustees alike accusing Henyard of misappropriating public funds for personal or non-essential preferences, rather than prioritizing the community's urgent needs. Henyard's financial behavior has sparked outrage across the township, with some critics calling it reckless at best and outright corrupt at worst. One trustee was particularly vocal, stating, "We're watching the village's resources evaporate while essential services go neglected." This sentiment has been echoed by many residents, who are growing increasingly frustrated with Henyard's apparent disregard for fiscal responsibility. As roads crumble, streetlights remain unrepaired, and public safety remains underfunded, the community is left wondering if Henyard's leadership is failing to deliver on even the most basic services they depend on. Despite this backlash, Henyard defends her expenditures, arguing that they are justified and essential for the long-term growth and development of the township. She claims that these expenses are necessary to support the future infrastructure of Dolton. However, her critics remain unconvinced, pointing to the rapid depletion of the township's financial reserves as clear evidence of poor management. As tensions mount, calls for increased accountability and transparency in Dolton's financial transactions have grown louder. Many residents are demanding clear answers about how their tax dollars are being spent and whether Henyard's lavish spending is truly in the community's best interest. The growing frustration within the township underscores the urgency of a responsible and transparent approach to governance. With Henyard's political battles escalating and her financial woes continuing to mount, the future of Dolton's leadership hangs in the balance. The town is in dire financial straits, and with Henyard refusing to back down from her controversial decisions, it remains to be seen whether she will be able to weather the storm or if this financial scandal will mark the beginning of the end for her political career. As the community's frustration deepens, one thing is clear: Dolton's leadership is in turmoil, and residents are demanding more than just empty promises. They want accountability, transparency, and a return to responsible governance.
Two trustees, as you mentioned, did not show up: Chris Gonzalez and Carmen Carlisle. Without them, not enough board members were present.
As the financial crisis in Dolton Township worsens, some trustees are calling for an independent audit of all township activities, as Mayor Tiffany Henyard's administration finds itself at a crossroads amid growing criticism. Henyard remains adamant about defending her actions and reputation, but the residents of Dolton are anxiously awaiting answers and solutions to the financial challenges the township is facing. Henyard has attempted to downplay concerns over financial crisis by promoting ambitious initiatives, including proposed 100% property tax refund for local residents, which she claims will significantly alleviate the community's financial burden. However, this plan has sparked intense controversy and has come under increasing scrutiny from both political opponents and disillusioned constituents. Many have expressed skepticism about the viability of such an initiative, questioning how it would be funded and whether it is a legitimate attempt to help the community or simply a politically motivated move to boost Henyard's popularity ahead of the next election. Trustee Christopher Gonzalez has been especially vocal about his concerns regarding the program, highlighting its lack of thorough planning and transparency. He has demanded to know where the funding for such an ambitious program would come from, pointing out that Henyard has failed to provide a clear financial roadmap. Gonzalez emphasized that implementing such a large-scale initiative would require significant resources, careful planning, and a well-thought-out funding strategy, none of which Henyard has provided. He and other detractors argue that the program is more of a political maneuver than a genuine effort to address Dolton's financial challenges. While the idea of full property tax refund may sound appealing on the surface, many locals are deeply concerned about how it will be paid for, especially in light of Dolton's financial instability. Critics contend that, without a clear plan, the township risks incurring further debt, pushing it closer to financial collapse. Gonzalez has pointed out that Dolton's financial reserves have already been severely depleted, with the village's general fund shrinking from a surplus of over $5 million in 2022 to a deficit of more than $3 million by mid-2024. Given this significant financial decline, Both trustees and residents are questioning how Henyard plans to fund a multi-million-dollar tax refund program without further jeopardizing the township's already precarious financial situation. The absence of a clear and detailed explanation about the program's funding has fueled rumors and suspicions among some residents, who fear that the program is either unrealistic or based on misappropriated resources. There are growing concerns that the tax refund initiative may be a diversion from more serious financial mismanagement issues within the township. Some locals have speculated that Henyard's proposal is a smokescreen designed to shift the focus away from the township's mounting fiscal problems. "This sounds too good to be true," one resident remarked, questioning how a tax refund could be possible when the township is already deep in debt. Gonzalez echoed this sentiment, raising concerns about the practicality of implementing such a program. He pointed out that it would require significant logistical effort to determine eligibility, process applications, and allocate funds, emphasizing that such an initiative could not be rolled out overnight. "You can't implement this overnight," he warned, adding that the tax refund program appeared more like a campaign promise than a feasible financial strategy, given the lack of preparatory work. As the controversy surrounding the property tax refund deepens, so too does the rift between Henyard and the township trustees. While Henyard continues to promote the program as a game-changing solution for Dolton, trustees like Gonzalez remain unconvinced, insisting on a need for increased fiscal responsibility and transparency. They argue that the township should focus on addressing its financial mismanagement and work towards stabilizing its budget rather than engaging in politically motivated stunts that could exacerbate Dolton's financial crisis. With tensions continuing to rise and the financial situation growing more dire by the day, the future of the proposed tax refund program and Henyard's leadership remains uncertain. As the trustees call for more accountability and a comprehensive review of the township's finances, the residents of Dolton are left questioning whether Henyard's ambitious plan is a genuine attempt to help or simply a political ploy to secure her hold on power in the upcoming election. Dolton Township is at a crossroads as a growing dispute over Mayor Tiffany Henyard's proposed property tax refund plan has ignited fierce debate about the township's financial direction. Residents are increasingly concerned that, instead of addressing the urgent financial issues plaguing the community, such as crumbling infrastructure, the need to enhance public safety, and restoring essential services, Henyard is focusing on ambitious but possibly unsustainable programs. The tax refund proposal, which promises to provide a 100% property tax rebate to local residents, has drawn criticism from trustees and residents alike. Trustee Christopher Gonzalez, along with other members of the board, has voiced skepticism over the lack of a clear financial strategy for the program, questioning how the township could fund such a large-scale initiative without further endangering its already precarious financial situation. The absence of a thorough plan for how Henyard intends to pay for this program has left many residents wondering whether the proposal is a genuine effort to assist the community or simply a political move designed to bolster Henyard's popularity ahead of the next election. With Dolton's financial reserves already depleted, the general fund having gone from a surplus of over $5 million in 2022 to a deficit exceeding $3 million by mid-2024, critics are asking how such a proposal can be sustainable. The lack of cooperation between the two parties has made it increasingly difficult to move the township forward, with board meetings often devolving into shouting matches and walkouts, and no clear resolution in sight. In the absence of answers about the financial viability of Henyard's proposed programs, many residents are left wondering whether the property tax refund is just another empty campaign promise designed to distract from the more pressing issues facing the township. Some have described Henyard's approach as an attempt to buy votes, with one local business owner stating, "She'll say whatever it takes to get reelected, and we're left holding the bag." Many locals, including business owners, are expressing doubts, with one remarking that while Henyard's proposals look good on paper, they often lack the necessary planning and substance to make a meaningful impact. These concerns have been compounded by accusations that Henyard's leadership style is unilateral, with a disregard for differing opinions, leading to a lack of transparency and growing frustration among the trustees and residents. Trustee Carmen Carlisle recently reported that Henyard has been accused of excluding board members from crucial financial discussions and launching major projects without their consultation, further deepening the rift between the mayor and the trustees. Despite Henyard's insistence that the tax refund program will alleviate the financial burden on residents, many are skeptical, particularly given the lack of detailed planning and transparency surrounding its implementation. This has led to calls for an independent audit of Dolton's finances to assess the true state of the township's budget and determine whether Henyard's proposals are financially feasible. As the controversy continues to unfold, doubts about Henyard's leadership and decision-making abilities are growing. Beyond the property tax rebate program, another key area of concern is public safety. Henyard has faced criticism for a failure to ensure that the township's police department remains properly staffed and trained. One particularly troubling issue is the certification of the township's police chief, which expired years ago, and reports indicate that it has failed to complete the required training since 2021. This has raised alarms among residents, who feel that the township is neglecting public safety at a time when crime and other safety concerns continue to rise. Henyard's refusal to address these issues head-on has only intensified the frustration within the community, as residents watch essential services like law enforcement and infrastructure crumble. Some have even begun to question whether Henyard's tax refund initiative is just a flashy distraction to take attention away from the administration's failure to address critical issues, as the board continues to struggle with Henyard over the township's financial direction. Many residents feel that they are being left behind. The situation is reaching a boiling point, with calls for greater transparency and accountability growing louder by the day. The absence of clear answers and a sustainable financial plan has left many Dolton residents feeling deceived and uncertain about the future. In the midst of this political turmoil, one thing is clear. The community is increasingly dissatisfied with Henyard's leadership and is demanding change. Whether the property tax rebate proposal is a legitimate solution or merely a political ploy remains to be seen. Tensions surrounding Mayor Tiffany Henyard's leadership of Dolton Township have intensified in recent weeks, as a series of scandals and legal issues continue to plague her administration. One of the most contentious decisions was her push to appoint Burge as the new police chief, despite the fact that the Training and Standards Board had declared him unqualified for the role. This decision infuriated both trustees and residents, with many accusing Henyard of making underqualified hires and mismanaging the police department. Trustee Tiana Beller, in particular, decried the appointment as illegal and vowed to contest it in court. This move was seen as part of a broader pattern of mismanagement, with Henyard continuing to push through controversial actions without proper consultation or consideration of the community's needs. At the same time, Henyard's personal legal issues have further damaged her credibility. She and her partner are currently facing eviction from their rental property in Jenna, as a landlord claims that they have not paid rent in several months. These personal and professional issues continue to swirl around Henyard as Dolton Township teeters on the edge of financial ruin. As the political and financial drama unfolds, the future of Dolton Township hangs in the balance. The community's frustration is palpable, and it remains to be seen whether Henyard will be able to restore trust in her leadership or if this will mark the beginning of the end for her controversial political career. Since August, the landlord who initially rented to Mayor Tiffany Henyard in 2021 now deeply regrets that decision. What began as a straightforward rental agreement has devolved into a messy legal dispute, with the landlord accusing Henyard and her partner of not only failing to pay rent, but also changing the property's locks without permission, preventing her from accessing the property. This has sparked outrage, with the landlord calling Henyard's actions a blatant disregard for the terms of the rental agreement and accusing her of using her political influence to manipulate the situation to her advantage. The eviction lawsuit has garnered significant public attention, with many Dolton residents expressing frustration and disillusionment. Some see the case as emblematic of a larger pattern of financial mismanagement and unethical behavior by Henyard, especially given the financial troubles the township is already facing, including questionable spending practices and growing deficits. Critics argue that if Henyard is unable to manage her personal finances and honor basic agreements, she is unlikely to be capable of managing the township's budget responsibly. This has raised broader questions about the integrity and ethical standards of public officials, with many residents wondering if Henyard's personal conduct reflects the kind of leadership that should be expected from someone in her position. As the case progresses, it is likely to continue attracting attention and further tarnishing Henyard's public image. Residents have voiced concerns about whether Henyard's actions, both personal and professional, are indicative of a lack of accountability and responsibility. One local business owner expressed deep skepticism, saying, "If Henyard can't even manage her own personal affairs, how could she be trusted to handle the township's finances?" The public's growing frustration has also led to increased calls for greater transparency and accountability, as residents demand that Henyard take responsibility for both her personal behavior and her management of Dolton's resources. The legal dispute over the eviction has become more than just a property issue. It has become a symbol of the larger governance problems facing the township under Henyard's leadership. Critics have been quick to point out that the mayor's personal financial struggles are not only a private matter, but also a reflection of her broader inability to manage the township's resources effectively. The fact that Henyard's personal issues are now intertwined with her role as mayor has only amplified concerns about her leadership, with many questioning whether she has the integrity and competence required to govern the community responsibly. Henyard, for her part, has been outspoken about the eviction case, defending her actions and insisting that she is being unfairly targeted. She has lashed out at critics, calling her accusations reckless and unethical, but her responses have done little to quell the growing distrust among residents and trustees. As the case continues to develop, it is clear that Henyard's leadership is increasingly under scrutiny, with her personal behavior and financial management practices coming into sharp focus. Whether or not she can navigate this crisis and restore her credibility remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: the The growing dissatisfaction with Henyard's tenure is reaching a boiling point, and many in the community are now questioning whether she is truly fit to serve as mayor. The ongoing eviction dispute between Mayor Tiffany Henyard and her landlord is just one of many growing issues surrounding her controversial leadership, adding yet another layer to the already complex situation in Dolton Township. Henyard, who recently announced her intention to run for re-election, remains confident in her campaign, even projecting a landslide victory. However, her critics have become increasingly vocal, accusing her of using town resources for personal gain and questioning her financial management in both Dolton and Thorne Township. Federal authorities are reportedly investigating her expenditures, adding fuel to fire growing discontent among residents and trustees. In a statement, Henyard defiantly declared that victory knows the truth and expressed her determination to continue fighting for her village for the next 4 years. Yet, public gatherings have turned into battlegrounds, with heated arguments and, on occasion, police involvement. At a recent meeting, a resident reprimanded Henyard for prioritizing her own personal safety over addressing the pressing concerns of the community, particularly in relation to the new police chief. "Did we hear any plans regarding safety? Did we hear anything about guns?" the resident questioned, suggesting that Henyard's actions were more about protecting herself and ensuring the safety of the village. Even Henyard supporters have started to voice their doubts, with one social media commentator suggesting that the Dolton Police Department should be disbanded and multiple officers arrested, advocating for the sheriff to take over. Another added, "I think this is a reason Tiffany hosts these gatherings in Dolton. She can control the cops to resolve issues." These sentiments reflect a growing sense of disillusionment among the residents, who feel that Henyard is more focused on safeguarding her own reputation and political future rather than genuinely serving the community. The ongoing investigations by federal agencies, which can take anywhere from a few months to several years, have only heightened the sense of uncertainty. Despite the mounting criticisms, Henyard seems determined to press on, repeatedly defending herself and accusing her opponents of spreading false information and engaging in political gamesmanship. In one particularly memorable Facebook Live session, she lashed out, saying, "Why don't they listen to me? Why don't they hear one side of it?" This is Super Mayor at her critics, Mayor Tim. "We're here to solve the people's problems." However, the story unfolding around her leadership paints a decidedly less flattering picture, with allegations of corruption, legal battles, and growing public outrage dominating the narrative. As the 2025 elections loom on the horizon, the stakes are higher than ever. Henyard's tenure has been marked by controversy, and the question now is whether she will be able to hold on to her position or if her opposition will successfully overthrow the so-called super mayor. Only time will tell how this political drama will unfold. As the community continues to grapple with the ramifications of Henyard's leadership, many are left questioning her motives. Is she a bold leader genuinely fighting for the community, or is she exploiting her position for personal gain? Are her critics simply playing politics, or are they right in calling for greater accountability? With new developments emerging every day, it's clear that this political saga is far from over, and the outcome of the upcoming elections could very well determine the future direction of Dolton Township. What do you think about Tiffany Henyard's choice to abstain from meetings? Do you believe her leadership is serving the community's best interests, or is she more concerned with protecting herself and her political ambitions? As the controversy continues to unfold, residents are left with more questions than answers, and the situation remains as contentious as ever. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated on this ongoing drama. Until next time, we will continue to monitor the developments as they unfold. Thank you for watching Celeb News.